Today is Friday, January 11th, 2019. It's 1:24 a.m. I'm calling the DHHS Crisis Hotline, but it's not really a hotline, it's a lukewarm line because nothing ever gets done. Watch.
Welcome to Michigan Centralized Intake, a 24-hour hotline available 7 days a week for reports of the suspected abuse, neglect, or exploitation of children and vulnerable adults. If you are calling about a life-threatening emergency, please hang up now and call 911. To fax your 3200 form or police report, send to 616-977-1158. If you are a law enforcement officer, press 3 now. Please note that your call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. To continue in English, press 1. Para continuar en español, oprima. If you are a mandated reporter or other reporter of the abuse, neglect, or exploitation of a child or vulnerable adult, please stay on the line and your call will be answered in the order it was received. If you are calling to learn the status of an existing case or if you are calling to contact a caseworker, please hang up now and contact your local department's office. To find the contact information for your local office, please go to the State of Michigan's website for our department. If you have questions about other programs or services, please hang up and call the customer service hotline at 1-855-275-6424. Again, that number is 1-855-275-6424. To repeat these options, press 4. If you are not calling to report abuse or neglect, please hang up now. Heavy call volume requires that this line be used only for its purpose, the protection of children and vulnerable adults, many of whom need immediate attention. Thank you for your cooperation with this serious and time-sensitive mission.
Please hold while we transfer your call.
Phone call may be monitored for quality assurance.
Implemented some type of security measures at their pumps to try and prevent scam.
Centralized Intake, this is Marita speaking. Are you calling to report abuse or neglect for a child or for an adult?
An adult, ma'am.
Okay, no minor children in the home?
No, ma'am.
All right, just one moment. The adult victim, their first and their last name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you said it.
Ma'am.
All right, and do you have his date of birth? Okay. All right, so you're calling in for yourself today, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your primary race?
Caucasian.
And your marital status?
Divorced.
All right, and a good callback number for you.
Ma'am, I'm using someone else's phone. This is a Skype phone, so I don't really have a good callback number. I can give you a number, but it's not a good one. If you want.
Okay, it's up to you.
It's a 8. Are you there, ma'am?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having phone problems.
No problem. Okay, and then if we lose connection during this call, will I call the number that you provided back?
Yeah. I'm just, what it is this is a Skype number. That's a computer phone. I'm using someone else's computer.
Okay. Can I get a good address for you? That was Belmont, correct?
No, it's Almont, A-L-M-O-N-T, Michigan.
Okay,
That's a city, but the street address is.
Okay, and I'm just plugging in some information really quickly. Okay, what concerns do you have today?
Ma'am, our Adult Protective Service agents, workers, are they considered critical care providers?
Not for certain. I think they only get involved if there's a situation and they investigate. And then if it's a situation where services need to be put in place, then they refer that adult out for services.
Well, I've got ongoing problems, and I want to report gross negligence.
Okay, and then who What do you mean by
Adult
that?
Protective Services, the Adult Protective Services workers that have neglected me.
Okay, so you have concerns that an adult service worker has neglected you. So you have a worker currently?
I've got an unlivable situation, ma'am, and I'm being put to death by the state of Michigan and Lapeer County because I can't afford an attorney to defend me.
So you're calling today because you have concerns with your current adult protection service worker?
No, I'm being murdered, ma'am.
What do you mean?
I'm a disabled 67-year-old senior citizen. I'm living in a mobile home that Lapeer DHHS supplied a defective water heater to that leaked twice and destroyed my home. I've been without running water since November. I've been calling every department agency possible ever since, and I just attended a Monday a DHHS emergency hearing that they called. But they wouldn't allow me to present my evidence. They wouldn't allow me to have witnesses, and they wouldn't let me present my evidence. And I was escorted out of the office by the police. I've been without running water. I have no water. I've been without drinking water. I haven't had water for 2 days. I've contacted my local police. They won't even respond. I've tried to make gross negligence claims against a Adult Protective Services agent, Joseph Baker, that wrote me an email on November, I believe, the 29th, and asked me if I wanted water. And when I wrote back, and I said, yes, please. It was the 27th of November. I don't know who he is, how he got involved, but the email says, I'm in receipt of your 1126 email. I understand you do not want to work with Adult Protective Services and want to communicate through email. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know why he said that, because I've been asking for a new Adult Protective Services agent since Steve Atkinson, my previous agent, abandoned me in November when my water heater failed for a second time. They installed a
Okay, let me just get something in order. I want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. So the purpose of your call today, are you calling to put on a new referral, or you have concerns with your current case?
No, ma'am. Nothing's going on. What's happening is the state of Michigan is ignoring me, forcing me into homelessness and death. I can't put it any. They came in and installed a defective water heater that destroyed my house. They won't be responsible. I've tried every way possible to present a case, and I've been ignored. My issues have been ignored. In the last case,
I understand that, but what I'm trying to make sure I handle this call correctly. So what is it that you want me to do for this call? Are you calling to put on a new Adult Protection Service referral?
I'm calling. I'm calling to say I'm being put to death. I don't know what to do because nothing is working. The last I had an agent come in on, I believe it was the supervisor came in to my home. I believe it was December 23rd to do an inspection, and he said my main goal is to get you to safety. And he came and inspected my home. DHHS.
How did they? Okay, so you're saying that they destroyed your home because they had a hot water heater. Somebody came in and installed it on behalf of.
DHHS had a buddy of theirs that was 37% higher than the other three quotes that I submitted. It was a crony named Bossenberg who owned this company that was going out of business. and at the same time, and there's a Bossenberg, that's a supervisor in Lapeer County. It had to be a crony deal because they didn't even come out to quote. They didn't look at the job. They just
Okay,
got
so I don't. You're stating that you don't know what to do. I can't give you advice on what to do at the
I'm
time.
not asking for advice. What I'm trying to make a complaint, ma'am. I'm being put to death.
So you are calling to put on a complaint today.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
I
Okay,
don't
concern.
know. Ma'am, I have no water. I haven't had drinking water since yesterday.
Okay, so we'll put that on here. So your call, you have concerns that you have no drinking water.
I have an emergency. I have my home is uninhabitable, but I have no place to go. I'm homeless, and
So the address that you provided, that is your home address, correct?
Yes,
Now, is that an apartment, a house?
it's a mobile home.
Secondly, you stated that the hot water heater was defective. It was installed back in November, correct?
No, it was installed and it leaked within 2 months because it was improperly installed. They left me without.
Initially.
Pardon?
When was it initially installed?
It was initially installed in January of 2017. It was improperly installed. It was done incorrectly. I fired. They came out and they were going to install it incorrectly, and I fired them. They came in to do the installation, and when they started doing it and they were doing it incorrectly, I fired them. So I broke the contract. What happened is they went back to DHHS, and I said, unless you're going to do it correctly, I don't want you to do it. So I said, you go back to DHHS.
How did you know that they were doing it incorrectly?
Because I had 3 other master plumbers tell me that they were doing it incorrectly. They did it. They did it. They were going out of business. DHHS used the absolute worst people in the world and did it against.
I understand that the home is inhabitable. Why is the home inhabitable?
Because what it did is it leaked twice and destroyed all my floors. And it leaked in November, and the water was shut off. And then in May, I had consumers come out and look at it because I had a insurance policy, and they said that they believed that the water heater bladder was broken, and they couldn't investigate the water heater bladder until I had the defective plumbing that the first plumber did removed and replaced. And so then I got an estimate for that and to replace and to fix my home. And I sent DHHS a bill for that for $15,000 in May, and they ignored it. But then they told Rhonda Lansing and Tanya McCrory told the Michigan State Police, Matthew Lehman, in May that they fixed my water heater and my roof and that I was all set. So I had filed a complaint, and the Michigan State Police closed the case. And then I filed a complaint with the Almont Police, and the Almont Police contacted the Adult Protective Services agent that I was working with in November of 2017 when this all happened, and he lied to the state, or lied to the Almont Police and said that he thought my water heater was fixed, which.
Okay, so when was the last time that Adult Services was involved? When was the last time? How recent?
When was the last time what, ma'am?
Adult Protection Services were involved.
The last time was December, I believe it was 23rd, when the supervisor, Dave Lynch, came out. This man I talked to in September for an hour and a half. I argued with him.
Okay, so Adult Services was last involved in 2018 or 2017?
No, it was 2018. Just this last December 23rd, I believe was the date.
Okay, and what was the solution at the time?
Well, he came, and he said he came to inspect my home. That the problem is, I filed a report with DHHS and asked for damages for my home, and they said that I had to get somebody to prove that my home was uninhabitable. So the DHHS guy came out, and he said, my main goal is to get you to safety and see what your situation is. I tried to explain my situation as best I could. He got involved. He looked at my home, and when I explained everything, he said, I said, my home is uninhabitable. He brought a man out from Habitat from Humanity that was talking about repairing it, and he said it's basically beyond repair. And he said, and I said, look, DHHS was responsible for installing the water heater, and I've been fighting that ever since, and no one has given me the time of day. And I have proof that I voided the contract when they came in before they did the work. I am not responsible for that work. Legally, I am not responsible. I have investigated the law. I've sent my legal findings to DHHS. Their lawyers looked at it, and all they did is ignore me.
So today you have concerns that
I have, ma'am. I'm homeless. I have nowhere to go. I haven't had water for 2 days, and every department that I've talked to is ignoring me until I die. Like I said, I went to a hearing that I agreed to a hearing with DHHS, and I said I want to bring witnesses. I want to be able to present my evidence, and I need advance notice, and I asked for transportation as a reasonable request under ADA guidelines. And I said, and they arranged in a rush meeting that only gave me, I got the paperwork Thursday, and the meeting was for Monday. And the intention was that I don't show up, and that they would just say that I failed to attend. But I somehow struggled to get there. And the first thing they did is they wouldn't allow me witnesses, and I am entitled to witnesses in a hearing. I brought remote witnesses via my video cam. She wouldn't allow my witnesses and made me shut off my video cam. That's a violation of their rules. I had the right to bring witnesses. She wouldn't allow. She was using old information that DHHS had that didn't have the correct information. They had my income as double what it really was. The lady wasn't really looking at anything. She and I got into it right off the bat when she wouldn't allow me to video record, and I was very intimidated because I was in a room with 2 DHHS workers, and at one time they had 4 police in the office. And I'm disabled. I'm a 67-year-old disabled with a cane. I was very intimidated, and I tried to explain all my information. She directed the narrative and wouldn't allow me to show any of my evidence, and said, "Okay, this is over." And I was so distraught. I walked out and I went to the lobby, and the police, I think it was the county police, or I don't know what division it was. The lady walked out and she said, "You got to get out." And I said, man, I don't feel good. And I was in the lobby just sitting there minding my own business. She said, no, you got to leave. And so they threw me out of the building.
Okay. Let me get some questions answered from you really quickly here so that I can get this information submitted to a supervisor. So I'm just going to go back over what I have.
Can I tell you here, Marita, can I tell you in a nutshell, the government's falling apart and you're not providing essential services, and the people that are supposed to be doing their jobs aren't doing it, and what they're doing is they're just ignoring people. I'm disabled. They're murdering me. They destroyed my home, and this has been going on for a year. I've tried everything. I've tried every legal avenue, and I'm at the end of my rope. As of Monday, they said they're not going to help me. My house is uninhabitable. I have no water. My only other choice is to blow my brains out or kill myself or jump out in front of traffic, which I'm not suicidal. And yes, you do, man, because you're torturing me. Not you, but the state of Michigan and Lapeer County, as they know all about it. I called last week to try to file a complaint for gross negligence against the Adult Protective Services agent that wrote to me and said he would provide me water and then disappeared. And no one will respond to that. I said, no one will bring me water. And they won't tell me why. And what they're doing is they're just trying to murder me. They give me no way out, and the whole idea is to get me to commit suicide. And I refuse. And what I've done instead is I've found out how corrupt Michigan and Lapeer County government is, and I've documented everything meticulously. And when I submit paperwork, I send 100 pages because I'm repeating the same thing over and over and over to different departments that are non-responsive. And it's not me, it's the government, and it's not you. They're hiding a government that's in collapse. And the people that don't want to lose their jobs are just ignoring me. I've been a victim of gross neglect by Adult Protective Services and DHHS workers that have ignored my issues, and they destroyed my home. They sent in bums against my wishes. I fired them before they ever did the job. Legally, I'm not responsible, but it doesn't matter because no one will look at my legal evidence. No one will refute it. They just ignore me, and the whole idea is to get me to die. And what you're doing is you're murdering people like you're doing to the people in Flint.
Okay. Let me read back what I have here to confirm that I do have it accurately documented. There are a few other questions that I am required to go over with you, and then I'll get this information transferred to my supervisor for review.
Okay.
So you stated that you're having some ongoing problems. You stated that you are disabled. You do have concerns that you are being murdered based on negligence with how Lapeer handled your initial case with your hot water heater. You stated that they provided you with a defective hot water heater back in January of 2017. You stated that the hot water heater was not being installed correctly. So you do admit that you did fire the parties and broke the contract due to the inaccuracy in how they were completing the installation.
Right.
You stated that as a result, the home is now inhabitable. You stated the hot water leaked twice and destroyed your flooring. You stated that you've reached out to several agencies for help with the situation.
Well, and when it leaked in November, I contacted DHHS and I contacted Adult Protective Services, and they ignored me. So then I contacted my state senator Mike Green, my state legislator Gary Howell, and I made a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act request, for all Adult Protective Services and DHHS files, and I've been ignored, and they never they fail to provide their files under the Freedom of Information Act, which carries departmental punitive damages, and it's never been addressed. My state senator or my state legislator Gary Howell, who championed the Freedom of Information Availability Act for citizens, bragged about how he's trying to make it easy to get FOIA information, and I've made a request since December. That's for over a year, and they just fail to respond, and that's a failure of government. And everybody that I've complained to has just ignored me. That's not me, man. That's the bad government.
Understood. Okay, so I have here that you stated there was a hearing that just passed on Monday. You stated that you were not allowed to present evidence or any witnesses in that hearing.
Right.
You stated that you didn't learn of the hearing until the Thursday prior, and you do have concerns that was with intention, that you would not even show to the hearing.
Right.
You stated that you also have concerns that your income was not accurately documented based on information submitted by the Department of Human Services.
Right.
You stated at some point law enforcement was involved and had you escorted out of the building, correct?
Right. And she wouldn't review my additional information, my additional evidence, which I have a right. I have a right to do it because she was using old information.
Mm-hmm. And so I have here, in addition, you stated that you have now been without drinking water for 2 days now.
Right.
You stated that you have contacted local law enforcement who has not responded.
I contacted what they're doing is Lapeer County's trying to pretend like they're doing their jobs. And I had somebody from the health department, Paul Walker, sent me an email about a week ago stating that, do I still want Meals on Wheels? And what's happening with Meals on Wheels in Lapeer County is I had that because I'm disabled, and they were delivering this food with open containers. And the sealing machine was broken. I talked to the delivering lady, and she said that they haven't fixed the sealing machine. So they're delivering unsanitary packages. So on April 3rd, I gave her a letter, and I said, take this back to your boss and tell him to stop delivering the food until you fix your sealing machine, and then send me an email stating that, or a letter, and then start bringing it, and then again deliver. And I haven't heard from anybody since. Then I had a lady from the health department come out unannounced to do a wellness check for some reason in September, and I asked about the food, and she said she would check, and no one bothered to respond. I've written to the DHHS and Adult Protective Services, and nobody responded. So then all of a sudden, because I've been making complaints, this guy wrote to me and said that, do you want food delivered? So I wrote back a letter yesterday, and I said I want to make sure that you deliver, if you're going to deliver food, that it's safe. And in the meantime, man, my refrigerator failed. So if he brings food again, I don't have any place to put it. So I asked him, I said, the main thing I need is water. And I haven't heard back from him.
Okay. So I have here that you stated that you do not know what to do at this point.
Yeah, my refrigerator just failed. So all my food in my refrigerator I got to throw out. So if he brings food again, he said he sent the letter stating like as if I canceled it out of my own accord. The reason I canceled it because they were serving unsanitary food. That's their fault, and I'm not going to be responsible for that. My taxes pay for that. And so they sat on it they never did respond. So then finally, I guess somebody complained enough, so he wrote me an email trying to make it sound like I canceled it, and I didn't cancel it. They were serving unsanitary food. So
I did note that in here. So
right. Okay.
I documented that on my end.
Right.
Okay. I also added that your refrigerator has failed. So if they do deliver food, if it is packaged properly, then you really don't have any place to put it at this point.
Right.
So you are requesting just water from them.
Yeah, my home is uninhabitable. I'm disabled. I have no. I have a car that the state. I'm sorry.
I did note that you do have concerns that the home is inhabitable at this point. I noted that adult services came out and they even made statements that the home is beyond repairable. So you feel that you have been forced into homelessness.
And another thing that they've done is Elaine Stoutenberg, an adult protective services agent. Here's the problem. I've called your number before, and I called them for like 2 months solid, and they kept saying there's no need. I got postal mail saying there's no emergency and no explanation at all. And then I found out that Elaine Stoutenberg of Adult Protective Services lied and told them that I have a grocery store right across the street, so I'm in no immediate danger. I'm disabled. I can't walk. I can't get around, so I have no way of getting food. She lied, and so they every time that I make a complaint, it's never responded to. That's because she lied, and I've complained about that, and no one's responded. What they're doing is they can get away with anything. When the Adult Protective Services guy came in, Dave Lynch, they spent 45 minutes. All he told me is he said the best I can do is I can give you $1,000 to get you out of here. That won't even pay for. My house is abandoned. My house is a wreck.
Where are you currently located now?
What's that?
Are you at home as we speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any Native Indian heritage or tribal affiliation?
No.
Are you a veteran?
No.
Your home address, is it on Native Indian land?
No.
Do you reside in the home alone?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is this a home that you own?
Yes.
Okay.
But the problem is it's worthless now. When they
I understand completely, sir.
They ruined my home. They turned it from an asset to a debit.
Okay.
And
but I did all of your concerns on my end as well.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Do you have anyone responsible for your care, or no?
No. I have no way of getting food. That's why I've lost 30 pounds. I'm malnutrited. I weigh 145 pounds. No one cares. There are no services. The services that they pretend to offer are non-existent, ma'am. I've called every one of them. There is no legal services. There's no referral services. They keep telling me they'll take me to suitable housing, but there is none. The guy came out and said he's going to give me brochures. I've already read those brochures. There is nothing. They forced me into homelessness. In 2016, I had a job, a car, and a buyer for my home, and a way to get to freedom, and the state of Michigan wouldn't allow me to take my job because they hit me for almost $6,000 in old fees and charges, driver responsibilities fees that go back 15 years that wouldn't allow me to take my job, and so
Now you stated that you're disabled. What have you been diagnosed with?
Quite a few things. Do you need to?
Okay, what are your medical diagnoses?
Well, I have herniated discs. I have I have diabetes.
Are you insulin dependent or no?
I haven't had medical. I haven't had access to my doctors since 2016 because I have no transportation.
Okay. So diabetes, okay.
I haven't for anything. I have neuropathy.
Uh-huh.
I have rheumatoid arthritis.
Uh-huh.
and ankylosing spondylitis.
Okay,
Ankylosing spondylitis.
spondylitis. Okay.
And high blood pressure.
And high blood pressure.
And I can't walk.
Now, what are you using to get around?
A cane.
Okay, Richard uses a cane to get around.
The last time the nearest grocery store is a mile away, and I rode my bike in 2014 trying to ride to get food, and I fell and broke my collarbone in 4 places. I can't get food. I have no way of getting food. The DHHS won't allow me to hire people to buy my food for me or shop for me. They won't give me any allowance at all to do it. So if I have to pay people in the neighborhood, then I don't have the money for the food.
Okay. A few other questions here. Do you have any? Do you have a primary care physician?
I did until 2016.
Okay.
I lost everything, man, because when I turned 65, I lost my regular driver. I never applied for Medicare because I didn't have transportation. They cheated me out of my Social Security. They gave me Medicare. They were paying the payment for a couple of months. Then they took it back because they said I didn't send in paperwork. Then they gave it to me again. Then they took it back. And I never wanted it in the first place. They took money when they said they did something and gave it to me in air and gave me too much. So they took $237 out of my Social Security payment in June of 2017 that I needed to fix my roof. And I can't get anything resolved with Social Security. I finally contacted Social Security. The lady said, "Yeah, we think you have a case because they screwed up what they did." They said you got to make it to the Port Huron Social Security offices to file a complaint and sign papers. That was 6 months ago. I've asked for reasonable.
Okay, let me get some other information from you.
Okay.
Do you have any contact names or numbers for anyone who would have information about you? Any relatives that you would like to list?
Ma'am, I'm incapacitated in my home. I've lost all social contact with everybody. I can't attend church. I have nobody. I'm a hermit.
Okay.
I'm a hermit.
All right. So,
and I've also with all the police that have come to my house. I live in a Mexican neighborhood, and all my neighbors think I'm either a drug dealer or I'm some kind of squealer, and I can't get help from anybody. That's why I'm at the last end. So I don't know what else to do other than.
Are there any weapons or pets in the home?
I have a pet, ma'am.
What type?
What's that?
What type of pet?
A little cat.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point, I have the information. I want to get this submitted to a supervisor here as soon as possible.
Okay.
They will make the decision over the information you have provided today. Okay?
Nothing. Can I tell you something, Marita? You want to bet something? I'll bet you I never hear from anybody. I'll bet you. And then what I'll do is I'll just call again tomorrow because I'm not giving up. My problem is, ma'am, I'm not suicidal. This would be very easy. I don't have a gun, but I'd jump out in front of traffic or something.
No, we definitely don't want you to do that.
You can't say no one can tell me that. The people that are saying that are liars because when they give me no way out, I'm sitting there and the state police are watching me. When they give me no way out, I'm sitting there and the state police are watching me, and the local police and the prosecutor are watching me, begging for help, saying I can't survive, calling them and begging them for water, and they're just watching me die. I don't believe in anything. The government's falling apart, and the people, all they're doing is they're trying to pretend that they're doing their job to collect their paychecks for a little while longer.
Well, that's definitely not the case during this call, but I definitely have all your information. I have all your concerns and frustrations noted on my end. and I do want to get this transferred to my.
Okay, when would I hear from somebody?
Well, I'm not the one who do any callbacks. It's only my job to collect the information.
I know, but I'm just, how would I know if something happens? Because I've gone through this. I went through this for over 2 months. I finally gave up. I tried all these other ways. Now I'm back. I've got no other way of getting help. And it's the state of Michigan that's murdering me. I'm confronting my accusers. My murderers. I refuse to be murdered and pay taxes to the people that that pay taxes.
Well, I'll definitely put a note on here that you would like for someone to follow up with you as soon as possible. I do have the number, and I noted that you do have concerns with the phone number, but they can always make the attempt to call.
No, they could just email me.
Okay, what is your email?
It's .com.
Okay, I'll note on here that you would like for someone to follow up with you.
I want to file gross negligence charges against Joseph Baker, David Lynch, Elaine Stoutenberg, and
Stoutenberg, her last name?
Stoutenberg. Stoutenburg.
Okay.
And Steve Atkinson.
Okay.
They're all of Adult Protective Services. They've known all about my case, and they've done nothing. They were the ones supposed to be protecting me.
Okay, I have all of their names: David Lynch, Joseph Baker, Elaine Stoutenberg, Steve Atkinson.
Right. Joseph Baker was the one that sent me on November 27th, an email stating they'd bring me water. That was and then no one will respond to that. The supervisor that came out to my house, David Lynch came to my house. He told me, he said that all he could do is provide $1,000, and I said that's not good enough. I started getting upset. And the Almont police went for his gun as they ran out the door. It was an ugly situation. I video recorded it, and I don't know if.
So I understand you're frustrated.
No, I'm being murdered. It's not frustration, ma'am. I'm being murdered, and I refuse. What would you do if I put a pillow over your head? What would you do? They're putting a pillow on my head. It's not my concern, man. They're smothering me.
Let me get this to my supervisor here so that they can begin the process. You stated that you would like someone to return your call and get back with you by email as soon as possible. They can't do that if I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. If somebody can get back with me today, I'm without water. How long could you last without water, ma'am?
Okay. Yep. I got that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a good night.
I really appreciate your help. You have a good day now.
You too. Thank you.
Bless you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, or amber waves of rain.
Okay, what's your name again,
For
ma'am?
purple mountains' majesty above
Today is Monday.
the fruited plain.
Today is Monday, January 7th,
America,
2018. Ma'am,
America,
finish
God
this.
shed His grace on thee
So I
and
couldn't get my
crown
case
thy
finished. I told her that I was
with
going to shut off
brotherhood
the video.
from
and I couldn't get it done.
sea
So what do I do now? I just leave?
shining
Is she gonna pout, or is she gonna come back and finish this? GoPro, stop videoing. You're not videoing anything. It's audio. I want my own audio.